Styxhexenhammer 666 was recently in the news because on one of his live streams reacting to a debate, he did a little groping to this woman here, and it was pretty uncomfortable.
By the way, this is my darling. Mm. Mm. Yes. Mm.
Yes, as she's like just so clearly not into it, not having it. My darling, just what a skeevy fuck.
You done?
No.
Okay.
And then she has to literally ask him, "You done?" And he actually says no to her, which you might think he's joking, but fast forward, it's like 15, 20 minutes.
The co-host says, Sir Link, this is my girlfriend. Mm. Mm.
Hi.
Goes in, it's, obviously not as significant as the first one, but it just goes in for another boob scratch. Very odd, very odd. But that's not why we're here. We're here because he was recently arrested. Tarl was arrested in Louisiana, which that's his real name. And it was for domestic abuse and battery. And unfortunately, it's not a mugshot. I guess they don't do that in Louisiana unless you're convicted, from what I read real quickly. But yeah, $7,500 bond, and he'll have his next court appearance 10/30. But he didn't have any friends or family in Louisiana to bail him out, so he called TheQuartering. Well, I don't know if he actually called TheQuartering, but TheQuartering found out about it on his live stream and then started taking in donos to bail out Styx. And then this is just a clip of PPP and Andy Worski of Kino Casino promoting a segment that they're going to do about this. And this podcast consists of TheQuartering, Baring, and Count Dankula. TheQuartering is not a fan of the Kino Casino. He seems to really hate them. He gets triggered very quickly here.
Styxhexenhammer has been arrested for domestic violence.
Shut it down.
We told you, Styx. That bitch was crazy, insane in the membrane. So
These guys are
apparently
still on
Styx was
coke
in
for
New
sure, right?
Orleans last night.
Okay, so just keep this in your mind here, but he throws out that, these guys are totally still on coke. Just an accusation without any evidence.
Getting fucked
No, I
up
don't
on
think so.
Bourbon Street with his
Yikes.
insane, psychotic.
By the way, none of this is true. Like, I know you think it's funny, Baring, but like these guys are just making this shit up. They don't know anything. I just want to make that clear. I just want.
And then he says, these guys don't know anything. They're just making shit up. Oh, you mean like 1.2 seconds ago when you just said these guys are totally still on coke? Even though Andy says how many days sober he is in pretty much every stream. So I'm not just saying, oh, poor Andy, or whatever. Obviously, he's fine, but just it's ridiculous to throw that out there and then be mad that they're saying things that, oh, what if that's not true? How could they possibly say that? They don't have evidence. Disgusting.
It is funny though.
Yeah, I'll let it play, but like they're literally lying about him.
Girlfriend that accused him of forcing him to
They don't even know if she was even there. By the way, okay, I'll let it play. Sorry, I'm just
give her an abortion
Yeah.
and shit like this.
Just triggered is all. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything saying we actually know who he got into the altercation with. That is true.
Apparently, in the hotel room last night, he beat the shit out of her. And now he's
None of
in
that's
fucking
true.
New Orleans Parish Prison.
Top
one
five.
Of the five
Not a prison.
worst jails in the entire United States.
Let's go
There's no
Celtics.
air conditioning. It's over 120 degrees inside this concrete building filled with the fucking most violent, crazy predators.
That's also not true. He's just in jail. He's not in prison. Sorry, Baring.
I looked it up real quick just before I did this, and from what I saw, it sounds like in prison the violence is more severe, because people have time to develop histories and hatred for each other and stuff. But there's still a lot of violence in jail, and sometimes it seems like the rates can be higher. It's just not as likely to kill you or seriously injure you as it is in prison.
to ruin it for you.
Orleans.
But
You know the fucking
Yeah,
black
they
people
are
in New
Canadians
Orleans.
though.
It's not ruined though, the quartering. We can still imagine Styx in serious danger.
It's the same thing, effectively. Like,
you've
I think Australians and
not in
Canadians call
America.
jail and prison.
Jail and
Yeah.
prison are very fucking different in America.
Right.
Jail, like, you're not getting anally raped in jail. You're not getting shanked in jail. Jail is
okay.
basically like a dormitory, and you just chill all day. Like,
Yeah, that just does not seem true from what I looked up and from what I've heard too. Like I've heard county jail is one of the worst places ever to be in the world. That's just me going off of people saying stuff, obviously, but I at the very least, I do think it's probably pretty fair to say that jail is not just this nice, chill dormitory where you hang out at. I'm sure it can be for people, but I wouldn't just wave it away as that's the entire experience.
So just so allow me to educate Canadians. Jail in America is very different than prison.
It's crazy. And it's much law, but he might actually be getting bent over. Right now, Jeremy the Quartering is on the phone with a bail bondsman on live stream. They can't get a bail bondsman because they're out of state.
That's true.
Styx's family refuses to bail him out.
That's not true. He doesn't. I mean,
help him.
They don't
His
know that.
only hope
He says that's not true. Or wait, they don't know that. So PPP accuses Styx of having no family that cares about him enough to help him out there. And the Quartering says, no, that's not true. They don't know that. To me, that basically sounds like he just confirmed that that's true. Right? Otherwise, why would he walk it back like that right away? So yeah, Tarl has no family that cares about him in Louisiana, sounds like.
is Jeremy from the Quartering.
But the whole all the events that happen on Quartering.
You can't even. It's like watching George Bush learn about the Twin Towers being hit. But the show opens up. Quartering's like, Styx was supposed to be here today.
That's
I don't
fair.
know where
Yeah,
he
that's
is.
fair.
I guess
That's-
maybe his
like,
cell
come on,
phone's
that's
dead
funny.
or he's
Yeah,
trapped.
I said that's funny.
And Quartering
Yeah,
starts
that's good.
That's how it went down because like people were like super chatting. And I was like, yeah, fucking right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Then like more people. Well, like, I don't care. Just so you guys know, like, I acknowledge this is funny, but almost everything they said until now is a complete fabrication. And I would defend either one of you in the same way. Like,
I'm sorry.
So basically, it sounds like Tarl was lucky that he had a recurring show with the Quartering, because otherwise, how would he have gotten bailed out? Who is he gonna go to?
But Mr. Quartering, a second woman has been beaten.
yeah. I'm gonna finish the story. So little Timmy was headed down to play kickball.
ripping into Doug fucking Kamala's husband for beating women. And then suddenly the call comes
Did
in.
he really beat
Your
women? He seems like a
co-host is
complete fag. That guy.
Yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
beat
Well,
women.
again, he was
beat him up.
drunk
What
and
was-
allegedly he slapped his girlfriend for hitting on some guy. But like hitting on the guy was that she put his hand on the valet's shoulder to try and like get him to come on here
Skip this. This is about
on. Yeah.
Kamala's husband or something.
That's how untouchable he was and how different of a time
It was
it was.
amazing.
Like,
domestic violence.
No.
Speaking of domestic violence, my co-host has been accused of beating his girlfriend, and that's actually what
Guys,
he does.
by the way,
He segues it. He
people
tries
accuse us
to
of
deny it.
grifting,
Oh
but
my
then-
God! He's like, we need to get the Styx bail fund. We need 800 memberships sold
that's all true. That's all
right
true.
now. Then he's like, this is coming out of
I appreciate that the Quartering just owns it. And he's like, yeah, I'm here to make money.
Styx's paycheck.
That's also true.
Like, he's
That's a
not going to
fucking.
get paid.
That's a grift. That's awesome. We need 800 memberships.
Yeah.
Paid for 16 shows.
Beyond what? This is
Because I
the
can't
greatest.
pay. He's like, I
Chat,
need
if this video gets 10,000 likes, I'll bail him out.
yeah.
800 subs right now. We're starting the Styx fucking bail fund. Like,
He
top
sends a
super
viewer.
chatters.
He sends a viewer
No,
to
so
bail.
he has to.
What's wrong with that? So the reality is,
Yeah, that's like, it's just another layer of sadness on this. So Tarl doesn't even he straight up has nobody that can actually go and physically bail him out. They have to go to some viewer who I'm pretty sure he says here lives an hour away. So this viewer has to do 2 hours of driving. And that was Carl's best bet. That was what he had to depend on to get out of jail.
So when you pay the bail, whatever the system is, I don't really understand it. Is that somebody has to like walk the paperwork from the county clerk to the jail? Like normally you'd be in that city and you go bail someone out. They'd hand you the paperwork that you bailed them out, and then you go to the jail and they get them released. But because
I know why he's acting like this is some weird thing. It's like, oh yeah, in Louisiana, apparently to bail people out, you have to actually show up there in person. It's like, what? You can't just email them? Well, what's your Venmo? All right, can you release them now, please?
because I'm not there, I said, do any of my followers live in the area that'd be willing to do this? Like, that's yeah.
That's a big ask.
No, it isn't. Not if you live there.
Can you go bail?
Oh, that is a big ask. Even, just doing that for your friend or whatever, that's just an ask at the very least. Maybe you wouldn't say it's a big ask, but if you have to drive an hour there and back, 2 hours or whatever, then I would say that's probably a big ask. Then that's a lot of time. And he just doesn't even really know this person. Like, they don't actually have a relationship. It's just a viewer. Like, how is that not a big ask? I'm not saying it's the biggest ask in the world, but it's very bizarre that TheQuartering would downplay like what this guy did to help him out.
Oh, some cunt out of fucking jail. That's a big ask. I wouldn't do it.
Well, you would. Yeah, I mean, they don't have to bail him out. He would have already been bailed out. All you have to do is walk the paperwork from one place to another. And I said I'd pay for it. So I give him $100 to do it or whatever,
Oh, right, yeah.
The viewer, he has to send a viewer to bail. He's like, does anybody live near New Orleans that can, he's on the phone. Anybody, like, can you email me at TheQuartering.com or whatever? TheQuartering@gmail.com. He's got a guy, apparently Ken, a viewer from an hour outside of New Orleans, is on the way with the paperwork to get Styx out of the.
I don't know. I don't think it's funny. Sorry. I think these guys are fucking idiots.
Like, why is he so genuinely bad? Like, goddamn, I get Styx as his friend or whatever, and they do a show together, but I mean, like, they really have not said much of anything that's all that crazy. Like, they did assume that it was with some specific woman or whatever, which I couldn't see that we know that or whatever. But I mean, are people really going to Kino Casino for pure one fact of the matter thing? Like, I do think they make an effort to say the true things and stuff, but they very obviously play things up to have fun.
But that's
funny.
Yeah, I know.
It's a bit fun.
Yeah, I mean, I yeah. If somebody was making fun of you guys for
people make. I literally nearly went to jail. People were making fun of me all over the place, man.
Yeah, I get it, but like, I just don't like they're just outright lying. I mean, the second half of this is funny. Like, you can meme on me about it. That's fine. But I guess I got like triggered by the first half where they're like, "Oh, I have firsthand knowledge of he beat her in a hotel room," and they don't know fucking anything. And they're spreading a dangerous rumor about a guy. Maybe it's true.
Yeah.
Maybe it's true. Maybe he did. Maybe Styx went like, I don't know who's a famous wife beater, but like maybe he went like absolutely crazy, and did what these guys said. But I just don't like putting that out there because I know how the law works in America. Like, if you
what's on the charge? It's domestic battery, isn't it?
Yeah, and by the way, domestic battery does not mean it's this girl. These guys don't even know that girl's there. They don't know if this girl's there or not. Domestic.
What did she say? What did she say? What did she say?
Yeah, what did she say? Yeah.
Styx kind of strikes me as an intellectual and calm and reasonable person. Like, so she must have said some shit. She done something.
Yeah, she must have been asking for it. But like,
oh yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe like I admit I'm being sensitive about it, but I don't like if these guys are saying that you were beating the shit out of your wife and it was untrue, I wouldn't think it was funny either, So like the rest of it is fun. You can meme on me for grifting off it, and it was like hearing. I mean, it wasn't the same as 9/11, but it really did go down like that. Like at first,
thanks for making the disclaimer. It wasn't actually like 9/11 because I wasn't sure. Just good to have that on the record.
Lots of false rumors online about me and my wife. God, I've no idea what that's like.
That's what I'm trying to say, dude. Yeah. Like, do you think I would be perpetuating those? You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. Yeah.
So were you literally on live stream waiting for him, and then?
Yeah. That's exactly the second half of this is exactly how it happened. Like, that's all fair and that's funny. I was literally waiting and waiting. He never showed up. He was on my show on Monday, like normal, and then he never showed up today. And then like people started saying it in chat. You know, people are. So I was like, yeah, haha, funny. And even I was like, don't say that. That's weird how rumors get started. You know, you want to joke like, you know, about things that, you know, I don't think joking about beating your wife is funny. And
so brave, Quartering. What a brave take. I don't think it's good to joke about beating your wife. Like, no shit. But most times, that's not good to joke about things. But that's not the point of telling jokes, to be altruistic.
And then like, unless you really do, then you can make, I guess. But that is like,
it's only funny if it actually happens.
Yes, yeah.
It's fine to beat your wife.
Yeah,
it's fine to beat your wife as long as you joke about it afterwards.
No, you got to reverse. I said it's fine to make jokes about beating your wife as long as you actually follow through. Like, the jokes are funny if he actually did it. If he didn't, then the way the rumors, you know, rumor mill goes, that she'll follow around.
I'm gonna fucking.
It just seems weird for him to be making this joke after he's been so sensitive about Kino Casino making jokes.
Elbow drop my girlfriend as long as I say bazinga afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Say it before. I think that's bazinga, and then you do the elbow drop. Then I would be,
okay.
But that's really
Get
so
ready
like,
for this punchline.
Yeah, so there's like a trickle in the chat about him being arrested, and then I was like, yeah, right, whatever. And then there was more, and then I was like, yeah, right. Put a link, because like, come on, Styx. Baring doesn't watch his content, but like, I've been on a show with this guy. He is never more than a 2 out of 10. Like, I cannot see that guy getting bent. You know what I mean? Like, I can't.
About getting angry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. With how comfortable he was groping that woman on stream, I don't really know if I buy that. Obviously, they have more, or the Quartering has more insight since he knows the guy somewhat, but I don't know. Just, you know, seeing him be very comfortable doing that to a woman on live stream, just like, I wouldn't think that's a man that has too many scruples about how he treats women in general.
Yeah. But I mean, that doesn't mean, you know, it's not like I'm around him all the time. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically how it happened. Like, sir, there was someone flew in the tower. The first one was the early tweets, and then people were super chatting and paying and sending links. I'm like, oh shit. So I clicked the link and I'm like, oh fuck, he really is in jail. And
maybe she slotted Moloch's name.
That's possible. What's also possible is if it is some girl, they got into some stupid alcohol fueled row. Someone called the cops and the guy goes to jail. That is what I'm willing to bet. I would bet that has happened. But
so yeah, and then after all this defense, he said he's willing to bet that Styx would have gotten into a drunken rage and argued with a woman to the extent that the neighbors call the police. It's really not much of a glowing endorsement. He's like, look, I don't think he'd beat her, but you know, he might get super drunk and yell so much that neighbors feel the need to call the cops. And we saw him do a little groping. Like, I don't know. It could be that it turns out not being a big deal. I'm definitely not here saying, oh, for sure, you know, Kino Casino PPP was right that he beat the shit out of some woman in a hotel room. But yeah, just very strange defense from the Quartering.
It's entirely, I mean, men do beat women.
Yeah,
it's possible that
the fact is, we don't know what happened, but yeah, the internet's going to be waiting and watching.
Yeah.
With bated breath.
Yeah, that is pretty much the fun in that one. But then here, Styx, he actually responded, "While I was absent for a week, I went to jail."
All right, everyone, talk about weird times. You probably were wondering where I was for an entire week. Actually, I was in jail. Don't worry, I'm gonna have no problem with the charges. They're pretty spurious. But I do have some fun.
Very, very casual. Just dismisses them. I think he might have literally done the hand movement there too.
Stories in regards to that. Now, of course, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the case for legal reasons. And actually, it turns out that Jeremy, TheQuartering, was the one that posted my bond. So a big shout out to him. I owe him a number of free live streams as a result of this. I just wanted to tell a little bit about the
Like, why wouldn't you just pay the dude back, right? Seems like that would be a better way to pay somebody back, and also you could maybe do the live streams for free for them too, but I don't know. I guess maybe quartering makes the money back pretty quickly this way.
experience, though. You know, you get dragged off by the police, you get booked and all this bullshit, and then you go to jail. Not prison, it's just jail. Temporary holding while they, figure out sort of what's going on. Then you have to go and do a court date and give your testimony and stuff like that, and then they figure it out later. Here's my experience. Overall, there were some very unpleasant things about it, but then there were things about it that were surprisingly easygoing. For instance, one of the first things that I saw when I arrived in the jail was actually a dude snorting cocaine. He had a little white packet and he was chopping it up with his fingers, and then he had a little straw and he was snorting it. I'm like, what? How did you get it in here? Then I realized, oh shit, they don't really have any drug checking in here. There's an older dude too.
But according to the quartering, it's just like a dorm.
It was like a dude
I guess they do have drugs in dorms, so maybe that is what he meant.
in his 60s, and I thought that was surreal. I'm like, that's the first time, by the way, that I've even seen cocaine, and it happens to be in a fucking jail holding cell. But prior to, getting your orange jumpsuit and shit like that, that was strange. Then at another point, let me talk about one unpleasant experience first. In well, they're not really cells, but little glassed off rooms that, you get locked into at night. You're sleeping 12 people to a room, in a room that's way, way smaller than my bedroom at Justana. And unfortunately, they have a shortage of blankets there. And so I slept on a bare floor for a week, with no covering at all. I was lucky if I could get a little towel to use, fold it up and use as a pillow just for my head to keep that from hurting. I've got
Just like college. Takes me right back to the dorms.
bruises on my arms and on my legs as a result of this. It was almost unbearable, that part, because I tend to be an insomniac anyway, so that wasn't necessarily the most pleasant thing in the world. But at the same time, there was one hilarious incident, on the fourth night or something. We had one person in the room, and I believe he was Hispanic, and he went out, and he brought back some, I guess, friends of his. They weren't even sleeping in the room, and they started smoking weed in the room. Again, I was like, when I looked over, and I saw what they were doing, I could smell it, and I look over, and I see him smoking, and with his friend.
So he titled the video "Why I Was Absent for a Week," but it just pretty much all he said was, it was just some spurious claims, and now it's just all stories about what happened at jail. He does not really address why he was absent for a week much at all, other than just jail. But that's in the title.
Friends, and in the little sectioned off quasi bathroom thing, I'm like, holy hell, what the fuck are you doing? I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why are you doing that in here? And they just kind of ignored me. Apparently this is normal sometimes. Then
So he actually asked the guys, "Whoa, what the heck are you doing, guys? You're not supposed to do that in here."
the guard outside smelled smoke, and so they went into the room, and the three of us that were in there at the time, of course, had to, get searched and everything like that. And of course, it wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. I was the only one that was cleared to actually come back in the room right away. They never came back, so I'm assuming that they got charged with some additional crime or something. I don't know if pot is legal in Louisiana. Not 100% sure.
I would imagine even if it is, it's not in jail.
Still here in the New Orleans area, actually, as we speak. So it was a very interesting experience, but one thing that I noticed above all is that the actual, the people that are charged with crimes, they're the chill ones. It's the people that are running the jail that are unchill. Not all of them, but some of them. Also, the thing that Manson said back in an interview in the 70s.
So, yeah, very wild that the libertarian guy is like, actually, the problem was with the authority figures. Hell yeah, dude, that's deep.
Is about the sound of prison being like loud shouting and stuff like that. That's actually true. Everyone was shouting. If you expect a good night's sleep, it's going to be a long night for you. Now, again, I expect to beat these charges specifically. I don't think there'll be a problem with that, so no worries there. But that's why I was absent.
No worries. Just straight up saying no worries. Like, I'm definitely not here saying he's gonna get the book thrown at him or anything. I have no idea, no way of knowing. But it's just I don't really understand the logic between downplaying it this much. Especially if supposedly you're not really gonna talk about it. Like, why not just not say that? Because now if he gets sentenced to, basically any prison sentence at all, even a couple months or whatever, like that's a perfect combination of clips right there, just waiting to happen.
Absent for a week. Yeah, I was in a jail in New Orleans, actually, and it was a very strange experience. I wouldn't say a pleasant one. Definitely an unpleasant experience for someone who likes freedom of movement as much as me. But honestly, on some levels,
Because it's not just everybody that wouldn't like jail. It's only people who appreciate their freedom.
not quite as bad as I expected. Originally, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in jail. And then I was like, oh, well, the food fucking sucks. I didn't eat very much for that entire week, other than a few snacks. The jailhouse, the soup and grits and stuff like that. Ugh. Mainly just I ate the vegetables and shit like that. I'm looking forward to a real meal now, actually. So I suggest.
Crazy that he wouldn't have had one already, right? Isn't that like one of the first things you would do getting out of jail, even if it was only a week? But he decided he needed to do some YouTube videos first.
Just you keep your nose clean. You don't want to have to eat that sort of stuff. And I saw people, they're like wolfing it down. I'm like, how can you even eat some of that food? Although I do admit that the mashed potatoes that they made actually were kind of on point. The one thing I noticed is that they don't use much salt in their food, actually. So yeah, that's why I was absent for a week. I was actually in a jail here in New Orleans, and I shouldn't have had to go there in the first place. But it is what it is. It's all good. That's about all. Peace out.
A little odd. Like, maybe it does end up being that it was nothing at all. But even if that's the case, I don't understand why you would publicly be so confident about nothing coming of it, because you just look like such a dork if anything does end up happening, when you could just keep your mouth shut anyway, which it's what you said you wanted to do. Just saying, yeah, I was in jail. Maybe I'll talk about it when the case is closed. But no, he wanted us to know there's not a chance in hell that anything negative comes of this for old Tarl. But shoutouts Lol Cow Supreme on the Kiwi Farms for the screenshots here and put me onto the story.